your messaging said don't vote via mail-in ballot. So you can't be upset when your followers or your supporters didn't vote via that method. And when that method comes in and they drop that bag off, right, and there's no votes in there for you, what would you expect, right? So, what's good, y'all? Todd Ferguson Bay here, 1513 Media. And first off, I want to say congrats to President-elect Joe Biden. CNN has called it, and the Associated Press has called it. So they usually wait there's a certain threshold before calling these states, even though they may still be counting. But just want to say congrats based off that. CNN's been holding out for a while, so I trust their word because they haven't been counting anything. Associated Press has been ahead in counting. So wanted to say congrats again, President-elect Joe Biden. But what I really wanted to get into in this video was the disparity between, say, the Democratic votes coming in via mail-in ballots and the Republican votes coming in via mail-in ballots. So there was a disparity, and in my opinion, that disparity can be accounted for, and it's not due to fraud. I think it's based on the action and the messaging from leadership, right? So President Trump has been putting out that, mail-in ballots can be tampered with. It can contribute to more fraud in the voting processes. So, to me, putting that messaging out to your followers who are, or your supporters who are approximately 50% of the country, to millions of people, you're telling them basically or implying, do not use mail-in ballots to vote, right? So if you're putting that type of messaging, and there's news articles as well saying that President Trump was trying not to fund the United States Postal Service, in order to suppress, mail-in ballot opportunities, stuff like that. So it's been implied, whether stated or not, that the president does not like mail-in ballots. So when you're telling this to your followers who are 50% of the country, your supporters, 50% of the country, when you're telling this to millions and millions of people, where on the other hand, President-elect Joe Biden is telling people to vote any way possible, right? You can't get upset when the number of mail-in ballots for the opposition for Joe Biden outnumbers yours by so many, especially during the COVID, during the pandemic era, where so many people are going to use mail-in ballots to vote anyway, right? So there's a lot more people using mail-in ballots because of the pandemic, right? That's one. So it's plenty more people than would have been normal, all right? In addition to that, you're telling your followers, or President Trump, or telling your supporters or people who are going to vote for you not to use the mail-in ballots because they could be tampered with, right? So that's going to lower your number of mail-in ballots when it could have been a smoother curve. So when you're telling people, again, not to utilize mail-in ballots by expressing your opinions on the mail-in ballots in a pandemic, right? And the other candidate is telling people to vote any way possible, right? It's going to be a disparity. Like, there's going to be a big difference in how many people vote via mail-in ballots. So then when they're counting these votes and they drop a big bag off of mail-in ballots to be counted, and it's only one vote to 100, one Republican vote or one vote for Trump to 100 Joe Biden votes, that could be accounted for based on messaging, right? Your messaging said don't vote via mail-in ballot. So you can't be upset when your followers or your supporters didn't vote via that method. And when that method comes in and they drop that bag off, right, and there's no votes in there for you, what would you expect, right? So it's not, to me, it's not due to fraud, right? So when they're counting these votes and verifying these votes and validating these votes, you know, these voting officials are partnered up with people on different parties. So it's not the party issue, right? You're saying there's no transparency, but the way the voting process works is that people from different parties count the votes, right? Right? But that's it. So that's all I wanted to hit on. Like, you can't tell people or imply to people or say you disapprove a voting method, right? A particular voting method, and then be upset when your supporters don't utilize that voting method, and people who support other candidates do, and there's not enough mail-in ballots for you to overcome, right? So it's not that you were winning in the beginning, right? Is that those votes didn't get counted yet, and then when they did get counted, it was overwhelming, right? It was overwhelmingly one way, based on messaging from leadership stating that don't vote this way, don't utilize this method to vote, when other leaders or your opponent was saying vote any way possible, right? So that's my 2 cents on why there's a big difference when they drop off when they do these mail-in ballot dumps, right? That's my opinion on why it's a big difference. So again, Ty Ferguson Bay, 1513 Media, just my 2 cents. But again, congrats to President-elect Joe Biden on on winning his race, and looking forward to the future. I'm out. Talk to you. Bye.